All right, welcome to today's episode of the Australian Lawn and Garden Podcast. I'm out on the tour already. As you can see behind me, we're traveling through Australia. I'm going to see you all very soon. Adelaide, Melbourne, Canberra, Sydney, Newcastle and Brisbane. We don't have any more announcements quite yet, but if you jump on the link, you can see the rest of the tour events. Now, this is 100 Podcast, the first event we did in Perth. And I got to say, a big thank you to a few people who made this happen. Firstly, the brands, Ego, AEG, Greenworks Commercial, Cress, Felco, Seawise, and the Lawn Shed / Living Turf. Those brands paid money, and that made the event free for you guys. And that's awesome. For brands to believe in what we're doing, to support what we're doing. I also want to say a big thank you to Alan Zanich, somebody who you've probably never heard of, but he runs a business called Z Entertainment. And what they do is these kind of live events with AFL stars, cricket stars, some of the best names in the business. And they've actually helped us a little bit behind the scenes getting this tour happening. So it's not just me making up some ideas when we do it. And there's a few little 1%ers that he's given me, a bit of wisdom, a bit of knowledge. He introduced us at the 100th Live Podcast if you were there. So I'm very thankful for that. And I also want to say, as a little bit of, what would you call it? Reminiscing, a little bit of just going down memory lane. I'm looking back on those top 10 podcast countdowns that we've done. I'm really super grateful for, firstly, the guests coming on. Secondly, people listening and engaging. But lastly, it's awesome to be a part of helping people, especially with their small businesses. Because I noticed something that most of the top 10 were actually business-focused episodes. And they're the most rewarding. And even at the live event that we had in Perth that you're about to listen to, so many people came up to me and their number one thing was that they're taking, for the podcast, it wasn't for the gardening content, it was the small business content that helped their business turn around. And so we're going to do more and more of that. We're going to get into this soon. But thank you so much for your support. I'm blown away that we got to 100 podcasts so quickly, and that the numbers and everything have been going so well, so healthy. I'm looking forward to seeing you all on tour. It's not that long till Adelaide. See you there. Welcome to the 100th episode of the Australian Lawn and Garden Podcast. I'd like to thank both of you for turning up tonight. I mean, you guys are the committed ones. Some people come from Busselton today. Hands up, well done. Some people came from Ellenbrook. Well done for not getting delivered. Well done. Tid's been to Rockingham, and how have you found Perth?
I haven't seen any of it. I've been here for 3 days, and all I've done is commute between where you put me up and your shed.
Okay, happy with that outfit.
So yeah, no, it's been great seeing nothing, but it's lovely to be here.
So here's what I'm going to do tonight. Usually I would ask the questions, but I want to give you the opportunity to ask the questions. We have the roving mic. I forgot to tell my wife that I wanted us to do this. Can you hand it to people who've got a question? There is 10 bags of Turf Perfect down there.
I hope you've got a backup plan if this doesn't...
If this could be the shortest podcast we've ever done.
Oh, you can talk, I'm sure.
This will be 3 hours long. So I'm going to just host. If you've got a question, you've thought about a question, first 10 questions get a bag. Now there's something else. Do you have that little something else, Karen? Can you pass it over here? Something very special. Some of you might not know that every single guest that comes on the podcast gets a metal pin with the number of the episode they're on the back. Tim has already been on the podcast, so he's already got one. Anybody who asks a question tonight goes in the running. Carrie's going to write everyone's name down, pull it out of the hat, and someone randomly is going to win the one and only 100th podcast pin that only gets given to guests. So that is also in the running. And at the end of the night, we're going to play a game for a Greenworks surprise pack that's there. And if you saw the story about whether or not they wanted it used in a Tinder lawnmower and video or not. Hands up, did you see that story? Yeah. Who wanted it used in a Tinder lawnmower man video? Couple. Who wanted it straight out of the box, freshie? It went about 50-50. All right, so what we've done is the liquor snipper has not been used It is out of the box. You can still pull the stickers off it. The blower has been used in a reel that has now got over 1 million views.
Multiple places.
You can choose which one you want. So I'm going to ask a question. You guys put your hands up. I want to put out, if you know, put your hands up. Single something out. Anthony from Momentum Mowing was going to ask the question.
You're finding yourself.
Carrie, you can take the microphone.
This is Anthony from Momentum Mowing. You can find me on Instagram. Sorry, I had to keep that friend up from last time.
Yeah.
Tim, I asked Brendan from the Aussie Lawn the same question last time. It's a simple question. What's your favourite type of turf and why?
I had a lot of trouble in giving like definitive answers for things. Like if you could look out there this afternoon and go, what colour's the sky? And a normal person would say grey, but I'd look at it and go, oh no, but there's a bit of white there, there's a bit of blue there. So I struggle giving a definitive answer, but I've liked the Sir Grange lately, the Zoia. I've got a patch of that at home. It's a little bit slower growing, but super soft to touch, and playing a bit with the Australis at the moment, the new one from Lawn Solutions. Again, I don't know, I think I like the super soft ones. There's something about the feel of them. Yeah, so probably Sir Grange or potentially I think I'm going to enjoy the Australis.
And you thought about doing a mulching turf patch at your new place?
I will, yeah. I want to build probably is overstating it, but I'll have multi-turf areas. I've already got a overseed bride project there, and I want to get some Australis, but I've got to get water there first. We're on tank water, so but we've got a creek at the back which we apparently are allowed to pump from, which could be handy, but it's a bit of an expense to set that up. So
right, if you've got another question, put your hand up. I've got one for you while we're diving through that.
Sure.
Do you ever struggle when you're doing a review to be entirely honest because you just don't want to bash up on somebody?
Sometimes I'll label things like review just because in searching on YouTube or whatever, it's easy to find. But I think more what I do is I just like to show my experience using something, and I'll point out what I like or don't like about it. But I think reviews can be a little bit. It's very easy to find something you don't like about anything and make that the clickbait headline and try and. You will get more views that way, but I wouldn't call what I do reviews. I will label them reviews, as I said, just for that search thing. But it's just I just like to show my experience. But I try and be upfront about it. Things I don't like, I point out. But it's sometimes hard to get that tone right, and everyone hears things differently as well. So sometimes I'll say something about a bit of equipment, and I might be actually being positive about it, and I'll be like, oh, this thing looks like it performs well to me, and then you'll have people going, oh, that looks like a piece of whatever. So,
or the other way around, something that you don't like.
Yeah, and especially the short form stuff. It's long form's a bit easier, as you know, because you can get out where you want to get out. But the short stuff, if you're making a 30-second video, it's hard to make that sort of stuff and get enough information in there. So I feel like most of my short form stuff has very little context, and it's kind of intentional because it creates a bit more interest, generally a few more comments, and lets people think for themselves. But I think people will base their opinion sometimes off those short form things, which I would never say to do. If you know what I'm saying.
We've got another question. Somebody out there?
Staying.
We call this. We've got another one.
So I like to be punctual on the job. I like to record how many hours I'm doing so I can charge the right price. But it's hard to be punctual when your watches get cracked from your whippersnipper. I always find stones and stuff crack my watch. I was just wondering if you guys have come across a watch that can withstand pebbles and whatever else that comes off the whippersnipper.
I go for the no watch look, which sort of works for me.
Got a sundial. I think that will survive it.
Hey, do you wear a watch at all?
No, I used to have a Garmin, and it copped quite a bit of abuse, but yeah, I don't know. What have you used in the past?
Garmin.
Yeah.
Two different models as well. And yeah, cracked screen.
My phone's my watch. I haven't had a watch. My last watch was before I joined the fire brigade, and I had a Apple Watch, and I quickly realised that probably wasn't going to be suitable. So I've been, as I say, raw dogs, nude sync film. Sorry,
But we're going to cancel for sure. Oh, we made 100 episodes. How good is that? We made it. We can solve it now. What about business questions? How many people here are small business owners? Pretty much everybody.
Well, you're the small businessman. I'm far from, as we spoke, we had Luke came on my podcast last night. I call it a podcast, but it's literally just myself and my mate Carby talking in my shed. But I was here this week, so Luke had to be the talking person, which was very different because Karthik's a little bit quiet. But yeah, mate,
I don't shut up.
I don't think I've got a word in. So
Yeah.
sorry. But, yeah. So were you trying to solicit small?
Also, does somebody have questions about small business stuff? Yeah, we go on here. All good.
Paul from Buffalo Mowing.
Is that even old? I feel like we've lost that mic now.
I spoke to you outside and I just say thanks for single-handedly making it cool to be a mole man again. Question is, how did you go from being a firefighter to getting into the turf industry and cutting people's lawn?
Well, we work shift work, so and through some life choices of my own and the separation, I needed a second job. So I'd always loved mowing my own lawn, always had a nice lawn at home, so I had basic knowledge of mowing and lawn maintenance. Started doing that. I had some really crappy jobs, some air tasker stuff, all that sort of stuff, the stuff that people probably starting now will do. I wanted to have some...
Something happened there.
I wanted to have some... I noticed you wanted to set that up for me. Okay. I noticed quickly the rate for sort of edging was higher than mowing, and I wanted to have some before and after. I thought a video would be a bit nicer than static before and after photos, so I filmed one of those in a really broad video. Just put it on YouTube, not expecting anyone to watch it. No one did. It was just I was going to send it to people, potential clients, and then for some reason, just because I like the editing process, the technology, the filming, I had a little GoPro. I just took that with me on one of my lawn cleanups, and no one watched that for a couple of weeks, and then just all of a sudden overnight, got like a couple of thousand views on the video. I was like, why are people watching this? And then I started probably doing videos every day, and it was just the normal ones that I was doing, and people weren't watching those, and then I kept doing some longer ones, and just absolutely snowballed and kept getting longer lawns, and people just liked it.
Yeah. Do you have advice for people who want to use their social media, grow their following, and get good work for it?
I would. It really depends what you're looking for. I think what I'm doing isn't the sort of thing you would be doing if you're trying to build a big mowing run off it. The sort of stuff I do gets viral views internationally, and that doesn't necessarily mean that in your market where you're servicing, people are going to see it. Mm-hmm. It's not a super shortcut to getting a wide client base. I think it'd be better hitting up Facebook groups or whatever and advertising stuff, but having stuff on your page, but not looking to go viral, if you know what I mean.
So you feel like the viral stuff is kind of just it's not going to get you.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Not going to get you the actual work that you really want.
No, it's not like you don't get to 100,000 subscribers or whatever, and all of a sudden your phone's off the hook because those subscribers are from everywhere and they're watching you for different things. That I feel like now at the point where I'm at, that I've got a large enough profile, I could probably lean into a specific type of work, like we were talking about yesterday. I was saying if I wanted to get deeper into it and just offer like overgrown cleanups to just specialise in that. But I think it's a lot of work. Most people underestimate the amount of work that goes into it because it is so simple to grab your phone, record something, and upload it. But doing that 1,000 times, and then trying to have a different angle, trying to learn from each video you put out, what's working, what's not working, getting belted in the comments sometimes. There's a lot to it. The editing, obviously, and I say editing. It's not like I keep my stuff intentionally, a low bar, just so I can get it out. But all of that still takes time. Lots of people in my inbox saying, I want to do what you're doing. How do I get, what do I do? How do I start? But my question would be, what's your goal? What's your end goal? Yeah. It's like, I want to do what you're doing. It's like, okay, I'm doing what I'm doing. There's lots of people now doing what you're doing. It's like, if you're going to do, my advice would be, have a point of difference. Don't just do the same thing, because as I'm doing that, plenty of people are already also doing it. So I'd say do something different.
When Sean came on, and I need a question for you asking this, all right? So, back me up here, people, all right? We talked a little bit quite early on, and so it's quite important to hear about how the industry had gone really sensational with how they talk about, like over the top.
There's leaning into, there's what's the word? It's taking advantage of people's situation and throwing them on camera. Like I have people on camera and door knocks or whatever, but I'll only have them on camera if they feel comfortable in that scenario. Sometimes I haven't had them on camera because I'm like, okay, they're going to get slammed in the comments or whatever. But if you read, it's particularly in the States, there's a bit here in Australia, but particularly in the States, you'll see they lean right into it, all the confrontation videos, and the police video. It'll be this war widow with one leg that's an AIDS survivor. I cleaned up her lawn. It's all that stuff does well. But
did you make it up?
Oh, it's
like, how much of it is like?
Oh, it's leaned into your time.
I saw a video of a homeless guy and I was like, I doubt
a homeless guy getting his.
Oh, no, there was like,
I feel like you're making this up.
I saw a homeless guy. I don't want to be too descriptive because they're not single, I believe. But I saw a homeless guy in one of the videos where somebody was doing a different cleanup and they just rocked up and I could ask for help or something or money or something like that. But like, I've never had somebody ask me anything like that. Maybe because I look stingy.
No, but like, I'm not giving you money.
I just feel like those situations, even if it was real, I'm so suspicious about online stuff. I can't watch the video.
Well, there's been so many, and then you see someone that does well with that, and then you'll see just people titling those videos. It's a fine line. Like, I even feel bad. I'm like, am I sort of using people or whatever? But I try and do it in a non-exploitive way. I really try and avoid that exploiting people. There's a lot of it that goes on now because it does do well. But I err on the side of trying to make my titles humorous, which are humorous to me, that the most of the audience doesn't get it, and they're scratching their head. But once you've done 200, 300, 400, 500 videos, it gets very hard to title a video differently. Yes,
uniquely in an interesting way.
Yeah, because you need a new title every week to get people to click, and unfortunately that drama and all that sort of stuff is the stuff that does well in any segment online.
So we've got questions from the audience. We've got a couple. Got 3. That's good.
I know.
Luke, I've got a business-related question for you.
Sure.
If I understand your website correctly, now you're involved for your own business. You're involved in lawn care services.
Not quite, but pretty much.
My question was, why do you move away from gardening, and why are you both reducing gardening? Quite good.
We want to do garden packages, but they're way more complex to set up than a lawn package. So one of the problems is when you start charging higher hourly rates, you're also setting a way higher expectation. And so one of the things that we do is we try and make our communication really good around our service. So it's like we're doing this, this week, and this is exactly why we're doing it, and have the staff know how to describe the problems and stuff like that. And I was just talking about with you yesterday in the podcast. Like once you've got a handle on the lawn, the skills are kind of transferable, whether it's cut, cube, right, buff, cooch, right? When we go down the path of hedges are pretty similar, but then you get into roses, and then you get into fruit trees, and then like what diseases are involved in that. So we've been working slowly in the background on like complete garden packages that are at the same level and deliver that high. So when somebody calls us to say, we've got gardens, yes, we will do it, but we don't advertise it because we don't want to put it out there and be like, we're going to knock it out of the park, set someone's expectation really high, and then if we're honest, our service is not quite there because it's just more complicated. Does that answer the question? Yeah. So it's like, I feel one of the things that we were in trouble is when you take on too many services in business, you spread yourself too thin. You end up lowering your quality across. You're jack of all trades, master at none. And so we really don't want to rush into let's extend more services out and then drop the quality and then lose reputation. So most people, I'm probably overthinking it sometimes. Most people, they just want you to control the weeds and prune some edges, but anyways. More questions? Yeah.
Yeah, pretty incredible lines. Pretty similar stuff about them. And trying to work out if that's going to start making lots of money. You better off having, say, 200 online customers and I just do lawns and that's it.
Yeah.
Or do you think the money is maybe having 100 customers and not been birds for mowing, corbing, all these services. I remember I just looked at lawn mowing, it's you look at charging $120 an hour plus or whatever, but if you're trying to do gardening for someone, if they say how much to do this, if you say it's $120 to prune your hedge or do some weeding, people are going to walk away. So just thinking, is your opinion, for the top dollar is actually physically putting them on to nothing else?
I think the top dollar is in really, really niche stuff. Like when we do, I told you about this, it's not a sustainable business model yet, right? But when we work at the private school we work at, when I do a fertilizer application there, I'm making $400 or $500 an hour. But I'm only doing 3 hours or 2 hours every 4 weeks, right? And so the reason is that you get a tool that's really efficient, so your price is competitive against somebody who doesn't have that tool, but you're doing it way less time. And then as long as the outcome's there, you get really good results, right? The problem is going down the mowing route, because I know what you're talking about. Because if you say to somebody, I'll mow your lawn, it'll be $45, and you do it in 10 minutes, they're not even home, they don't care. But you can't achieve that with weeding. When we did the freeway fire every year.
You deep bleeding.
Oh, yeah. But it took Elliot and I, so 2 men with experience in gardening, just as long to weed, what would you say, 10 square meters of grass?
And I was taking my time on the trimmer and the barber, so I didn't have to get into the weeding.
Now you could, if you weren't filming, how long do you think it would have taken you to?
10 minutes.
And it took us equivalent of 2 man hours, an hour each, to do the tiny. So you could get 10 lawns to make up that 2 hours roughly, and charge $40 minimum, $45 minimum, and then you've got yourself $450 in 2 hours worth of work. You go charge $100 an hour for your weeding, and the client's going to be like, what the hell? That was 10 square meters, So I totally see the problem. But then again, really high compromise for stuff is when you do things like a pre-emergent, like a barricade in the garden bed, and you say, hey, look, I'm mowing your lawn, it's already $40. We need to go start going, we can put this down to be $50. They go, yeah, sweet, $50, 6 guys at least. It's 7 minutes worth of work. And so the really high profit stuff is quite rare, but if you can balance that with your mowing stuff, but then you also go down the path of like, too many services now, and then it's a balancing act. And if you can find those little niche ones, then you'll do well. If there was another question, Karen's got us a duck earlier. Whip it. I'm post. There you go.
I'm here a minute. Yeah, touch base on it a bit before, Tim, but how long does it take you to edit a video, average video, and setting up and moving your cameras around and stuff like that?
Well, it probably at least doubles the time it takes to do what I do, and that's the way I do it. And then I probably take double the time any normal person would anyway, because I'm quite particular about it, and I'm not rushing to try and get to the next job. I'm about trying to do this one to as much detail as I can. So it takes me a long time to do something. And I know a lot of lawn contractors would see what I'm doing and they're like, well, that's so inefficient, and it's taking forever. And it's like, it's not an efficiency demonstration for me. Like, I'm trying to make a satisfying video that they would watch, a larger audience. I think some people can learn some skills for overbow stuff from watching that, but it's not like a efficiency demo, or this is how you should do it. Like, you saw me yesterday, there were like 3 sections of grass, and instead of using the line trimmer on all of them first, then blowing, then mowing, I'd do line trim one section, then sweep, blow that onto the grass, mow that section, and then I line trim the next section, which then gets the path dirty. So I'm like double handling everything. So it takes a long time. The editing stuff, again, once you've done, I don't know how many YouTube videos, like 200 or 300 YouTube videos, 1,000 plus short videos, you get a lot quicker on the editing stuff. So I could probably get a YouTube video out anywhere from an hour to 2 hours from like pushing. And that goes back to what I was saying before, the bar for I go by the thought that, getting it done and getting it out is better than mucking around with it for 5 or 6 hours and it not going out the day I want to. So everything I do it at a really low bar level in intensity, particularly turf and tools. That stuff, I just get the camera rolling, record whatever I'm doing, cut it up, cut. Happy to show my mistakes. So I just try and keep it as simple as possible, because I need to have because I'm so slow at the work, I need to have efficiencies in other areas. Yeah.
Got Ben and Henley and
Amanda. Over the past 100 podcasts, Luke.
He's excited.
Over the past 100 podcasts, what's been your favourite memory and your biggest learning experience?
I'm very sentimental about the first podcast, Ben. I'm glad he said yes, because I feel like it was important to get a really good guest early on.
You were really chasing clouds early, weren't you?
I didn't have enough of my own to be like, you should listen to my podcast. I'm like, I don't Ben seen this, but and Ben, being a friend, he was good enough to come on. I'm sentimental to that one. I learned a lot from Craig Castry, if you remember the one that was about soil. And I'd seen some of his stuff and I had started reading it. I thought it was really interesting. I deliberately stopped reading it because he said he was coming on. That was really interesting. What was the other thing you asked?
Best memory and biggest learning experience.
Yeah, that's totally it. So the first one was sentimental about, and then I learned a lot from Craig Castry.
I like the Dennis Scott one. That was my favourite.
Actually, that's my favourite one from this year, easy.
I sent him a message after that. I was like, that's a really good listen. Really interesting story.
Super humble.
Yeah.
Because I've been talking to him for about a month, and I try and be very low pressure with people coming on.
You didn't with me.
Well, I kept reminding you. The problem is when people say yes, you're like, yeah, we'll come one day, and then like a month later, it's like, is this one day now? And then a month again,
it was like a token. Yeah, maybe one day.
Yeah. And then I found his home address. Then I had a fake anthrax. No, he's out really.
Actually, that was tough. That I got off the night shift and it was a bad night and we were doing it in the morning and I think you had a bad night or something as well.
It was just early. I think it was a 9 a.m. for you and a 7 a.m. for me or something like that. Or a 10 a.m. and 8 a.m. or whatever it was. Yeah. Anyways. Next question. Leon Johns, can we get share?
He's right, but he hasn't even got a question. He's helping you out.
Yeah, it really was a bag. It's going to be 10 soon, I would have guessed.
This question's going to be, can I have a bag of store?
And it's already question 11.
Yeah. Carrie, you write down people's names up who don't.
Going back to the majors now.
Yeah.
If your Brown's on fire, which tool do you got? Sorry, Tim, I don't think, because you did so many of them.
I just blew fire out, leaving it. I see what I just done. But Tim Googled the fire out. That was such a weighty story.
Yeah, I'm a firefighter.
I don't know where I'm cheese.
So you're saying your question is, if there's a fire at my warehouse, which tool would I save? At my warehouse, I still have the $2 I started my business with, and they both don't work.
Which ones are they?
It's got a Kohler 18-inch Super Swift, blue, not self-propelled, and the brackets that hold the catcher on are all bent, so that if you go over any slight bump, the catcher falls off. But I still am sentimental about it, and I may or may not have, because the engine is flown, I may or may not have a Greenworks motor from a crashed Greenworks in an accident I'm considering putting on. That'll be steep.
A motor gear fire, so it's no failure of the equipment.
No, the equipment got crushed and the truck crashed, but the motor part is fine. So I think of that one, I don't know, because the rest of it you can just claim on insurance, right? But if you're asking what my favourite mower, there's two. The Mobile's a 22-inch split roller. I was using 26 for Emma, and I thought they were great, but they are hard to use. And then when I went to the 22, I was like, this is actually more efficient for the work I do. And then the Walker ND21D, which is a pain in the backside because it breaks regularly. But it's even more of a pain in the backside because you really miss it when it breaks. And so we had it out. It was a misdiagnosed problem, and so it was like, oh, we'll have it back in 2 weeks. And I was like, no worries. So I let the lawn grow a little bit longer, right? And then I got it back. It was an overheating issue, and I overheated in 15 minutes. And then it was like, oh, it'll be another 4 weeks. And I was mowing with a 36-inch stand-on mower when we used to a 48-inch Walker. I was like, man, they got a Walker back. I was like, this is great. But you need to have money set aside to actually cover when things go wrong. What about you? Best tools, like, you put out fire because you're cool.
Maybe the flail. Yeah. It's extremely efficient. So yeah, I mean, I've got recently. It's a walk behind flail mower. I'm not sure how wide it is. I can't even think right now. It's about 900 wide. And yeah, it's got a horizontal shaft with some Y flails on it, and it's just awesome at destroying anything long, could be woody, whatever. You put anything in front of it, it just destroys it. But not only does it destroy it, it's not like a side discharge mower where it throws it out to the side, makes a mess and erodes and all that sort of stuff. It mulches it up beautifully and just leaves it at your feet. Like it doesn't throw it everywhere. It's just evenly blitzed up. So yeah, probably the flail or the mass ball contractor. And that's not because it's like, I don't have like a 216 sitting at home and I'm saying that over that. It's just, that's the one I have at home, and it's a very versatile mower.
You used a HOU 216 hour, which is a little bit old and a little bit flogged out. Yeah, the gearbox is getting on a bit. But you were still preferring the mass ball.
Well, I haven't used a Honda for a while, so it was just a different feel. You're used to what you're used to. I've probably been using that contractor for a couple of years now, so I'm just used to it. I feel like it bags really well, like it's got a lift. I really like the wheels on it, the big chunky wheels, the rear discharge on it. It just, it gets through some nasty stuff.
There you go. Would you like to ask a question, Leon?
Please. Give him the bag now.
It's close. I think you go to yourself. First of all, congrats on 100.
Thanks.
Epic. It's been great. That last 2 episodes ago, that was an absolute banger, the one with the 3 price categories, getting into the industry with it, 2,000, 10,000.
Oh, yeah.
Loved it. That was wicked, and I think everyone should watch that. But my question's actually for Tim still, and it's a 2-parter, so I can try and get this bag.
Are you trying to get 2 bags out of this?
You want to get one. I assume when you were starting Fremo Fridays, you were still quoting and taking on just general contract jobs and stuff like that. That's yeah. So the follow-up was when you started to, get fame and people started to recognize you. Was there like a crossover point where you would start quoting for jobs and they were expecting them for free?
No. The same things are weird. Well, like most people don't know who you are. Like there's, a lot of people in here will because it's a bubble. But overall, I actually found it was kind of I'd get a lot of messages asking for quotes and then specifically saying, hey, I'm not looking for free. A quote. I get a lot of people asking for like free-based photo requests, which is good for me because it means I don't have to drive around because you the other day had to go for a drive around and you saw how annoying it is.
It's harder than what you think.
Yeah. I spent days before I had the reach and I was having a lot of people message me. I'd spend sometimes like 2 or 3 hours just looking for somewhere to mow, and then at some point you're like, what am I doing? I'm driving around looking for work to film, and I'm like questioning what I'm doing at that stage. So now I've got basically a backlog on my phone of people that want stuff done. It makes it a bit easier, but you lose that element. The thing I like in Fremo Fridays is the door knock because it's fun for me, which is weird because I'm a very private person. Ironically, I'm only a public person because I fell into this and it started working and it snowballed. But previously, I never would have had the confidence just to walk up to someone's door and knock on a random person's door and be like, hey,
it felt weird being 20 meters away.
Yeah, it doesn't feel
wasn't
weird
even
anymore.
outside. Me and Elliot were standing on the corner because if we were in sight with someone walking out and it's 2 for a minute standing at the corner and then Tim's like, can I be along? Just we're getting nervy.
But I wouldn't have even been able to do something like this prior to all of this, and this is still way out of my comfort zone. I like the control of being able to film something and cut it and put it out how I want it. But yeah, I don't know. It's helped me immensely as someone that I'm definitely not an articulate person, and all of this sort of stuff is helping. You can hear me. I say a lot of ums and ahs, and I'm thinking inside my head. So. I can't remember what you actually asked, but I was starting to sound like Luke just going in.
Has anyone, expected it for free? Or
I have had some people, but I've also had people specifically say, hey, not free, but it's the more demanding request. It's not the asking, it's almost telling me that, come do my... some of the way they word it, and you'd like to send a message back and get a for it. But then also doing this has opened up my eyes a bit about people's social skills aren't all equal. So I'm a lot less judgmental than I was prior to this. Just with talking to people and seeing different people in different scenarios. Some people just don't have social skills. It's not even they're not being rude. It's just they were never taught those social skills. Which I'm very hard on my daughter with all that sort of stuff. The please and the thank you and thanks for having me, all that sort of stuff. And not everyone's had that. So
There's a little business lesson in that even when you're giving free stuff, people can still be bad clients in a sense, people that are unenjoyable to work for. Because I feel like what happens is sometimes you go quote for somebody and you feel like they're grumpy because they think you're overcharging or whatever. And maybe they're just going to be grumpy because that's their personality. And even if you did it for free, when Tim comes up, there's still that, I guess what I'm saying is sometimes as a business owner, you feel like you're the problem, and the client is, especially early on, you don't have a lot of confidence. But some people are just difficult to work with, and it's beneficial when you move the bottom to start holding onto them. So.
Probably the worst experience I had, it was a Fremo Fridays, and it was some government-funded organisation that tries to prevent people getting evicted from government housing. So they have a limited budget, but they called me up and said, hey, would you be able to have a look at this person's place? We've got a limited budget. I went out, had a look at it, massive job. Did it, it was over a number of days, and also arranged for a tree lopper to come out and trim up, because there was a lot of bogeberry trees in there. And I get a lot of comments in the video. It doesn't matter what you do, they always want more. It's like, oh, why didn't you trim that tree away? So I thought I'll go all out this time, get a tree lopper here. And yeah, they came out, cleaned everything up. And the guy hadn't come out the whole time, and he comes out just after I finished this fish in the front yard. I still had the backyard to do another time, and he's like, oh, who cut the trees? Looking around thinking, it certainly wasn't you or your mum. Like, when you think, dude, like, I've been here working for 8 hours. He's like, oh, mum's going to be upset. Oh, what are you talking about? So, yeah, I mean, I had to bite my tongue there. And again, it's just a lesson that whether it be just not having the social skills or sometimes mental issues as well, like, yeah, I'm being long-winded, but it's what I do has opened my eyes a lot about, people in different scenarios and not being as judgmental. Sometimes people are lazy, but sometimes people have problems.
Yeah. I remember this one client who back in the day, we were charging $80 plus GST, right? Which it wasn't super expensive, more than cheap, right? And we rescheduled somebody because it rained, right? And somebody replied saying, charging what you were charging, I shouldn't be getting rescheduled. And I'm like, we literally replied, but like, charging what we charge doesn't make us in control of the weather. Because we were just like done with this person. But there's certain clients and certain people where it's like, what are you, like, you just don't, just ignore it. Any other questions? Yeah, go on over here. Have we been writing down people's names? I think we can carry to me. Okay, good. Thank you, Carrie.
Mine's the two-part question as well. GoPro versus iPhone for videoing. And if a GoPro, did you just learn how to use it like YouTube, or if you course or something like that? So like GoPro is very technical.
I started with a GoPro only because I had one, and I didn't really have anything to film or anything, but I just like technology. So I started with that. I'm not a fan of them. If he was very upset with me when I showed I have 3. I wasn't upset. I'm just like, he always let that work. No, I find this, the screen's very tiny. I find if you're recording 4K, they overheat quite quickly, which anything real out in the hot, but and their transferring was a bit annoying, so I just use iPhone. I get that question a lot as well. Oh, what do you use to film? No, it's literally just an iPhone. And then as far as like the editing and all that sort of stuff, like editing is probably, you can make it sound like you're super talented or you've got a super skill or something. Hey, I've got to edit for 2 hours or whatever. I could teach anyone in this room the basics of cutting, like in Adobe Premiere, cutting and putting stuff together and making a video in like 10 or 15 minutes. I would teach you the basics of it, and then you would get quicker and quicker at it. It's back to keeping my stuff simple. I can do more on there and make it look flashier, but it's diminishing returns for what is at the end of the day a lawnmower video.
Next course in the Aussie Greavies Mastery, 10 minutes of Tim talking about editing. Yes, you reckon? Yeah. $6,000 that one. Sure. More questions?
My first question is for you, Tim. The Part 5 video you did recently on that big job.
Was that before?
What did you do with the part?
Was it the final one?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Did you do the first day and think, I'm happy to chuck away this idea of doing the whole job, or did you think you had to commit to it? Also, one other question. From a business side, something in the commercial industry, and we sometimes get asked to charge a per square metre rate to do everything, to do logs, to do weeding. What's your opinion on that?
And that for me, left to you, let's take
That's your opinion for that one.
Okay.
You go first.
Okay, that's simple. Okay. So you most of won't know. Yeah, I just did a large cleanup where it took me 5, actually took me 7 visits over 5 videos. And again, back to how slow I work and how slow my process is. But yeah, to answer your question, after the first time, no, I wasn't thinking, oh, what have I got myself into? Because the knocking down is the easiest part, especially with the flower blower. Like I knocked all of that obscene growth over in like probably an hour and a half or something. And you've at that point, you've achieved something where pretty much, and I do see a lot of channels that do just the old splash and dash, because it would still look all right on camera. I could have done that in, like 1 or 2 visits, but no, I left it. I leave it for a week, wait for it to dry out, and take it. And then once you start doing that and peeling all the layers back, all you do is you start making work. So once I then started cleaning up all the grass and taking all the grass, I'm like, okay, there's a driveway through here, and it's covered in dirt. I've got to get rid of that, and then there's all this junk here as well. Now I've got to skip. I'm going to get rid of that. So initially I'm not regretting it. It's probably like the 3rd or 4th visit where I'm like, I uncover something else. I'm like, oh, there's another couple of hours of work there. So, but yeah, the first day is a little bit misleading because you feel like you've achieved a lot, but in reality, I had 6 more visits, 2 stip-ins, and I can't remember how many trail items of latest. Yeah.
What would it have cost? I'll answer your question a bit, but because you got help on the skip.
Yeah, Aussie skips.
You got help with the labour.
Yep.
Right. And let's say that you weren't filming. That would have been, it looks like that would have been thousands.
I would struggle with putting a price on it because of the way I do it. And it's so inefficient. And you probably wouldn't be doing it to that standard. So hard to put a price on my labour because the hours are a ridiculous amount and no one would pay for that really. And especially in those scenarios, that's the problem with those jobs. You can find them, but the people that have them generally don't have the money or don't want to pay. Ruin it, it doesn't involve them that much. But the waste alone, like the skip kits are costing $5.50 each. If I don't know what else to it, that's all right. So you probably got 1,100 in skips there, and then it might have been 300 or 400 in green waste. Yeah, warehouse labour. I had Able Mines Services, a guy who runs a business, does NDIS clients, but also hires people with disabilities, which I thought was cool. And I normally don't. I get a lot of people offering to help me, but because my stuff is monetized and it's like my business, I don't want people to come out and work for free. It just seems scummy to me. But he was just keen to get a little bit of exposure for what he does. And I thought, it actually sounds cool. To the point where I'm like, I'd actually like to find someone with a disability that wouldn't get a chance at a job elsewhere, but means some part-time work or whatever, because I don't need it full-time employee. I'd love to be able to give someone like that a chance, because a lot of those guys were so keen and good workers. So.
Yeah. The square metre rate stuff. So were you talking like tenders? Sometimes tenders.
So on big boat, now there's this 3 little contractors that all want to visit in your last 2.
Yeah.
Making their square metre rate on each day.
It's tough, because I know where.
I mean, not there's only like, sometimes I apply to be like 10 sets in it, 20 sets in it. But
yeah. This is the problem with the commercial stuff, because I'm hoping to get someone from a nursery or a podcast, and I'm going to rabbit trail to come back to this, because have you had somebody who's heard about the Bunnings inquiry? not many people. Okay, so there's a massive inquiry that happened about a month ago. In the same way that the supermarkets had an inquiry, Bunnings had an inquiry with the nursery industry about having such stringent expectations on small nurseries. I was on with them that there was it was like monopolistic practices basically, because they have 70% of the nursery market. And I've asked people who were in that actual, court hearing or whatever, government hearing or whatever it was, to come on the podcast, and there's a chance that we record one and we'll be on tour at their facility in Victoria. But the point I'm getting at is sometimes these contracts are so big and so lucrative and so attractive that you have to go against your better judgment, which is what these nurseries had to do, to win the job, because there's so much money in the job. I think that's a dangerous place to be in business when you're so needing their work that you have to jump over all the hoops that they won't do. For me, I would way prefer to find a little niche where actually the client would hate to lose you and you have a bit of a more powerful position. I understand like you can't change that overnight and it's hard to find those sorts of clients, but you sleep so much better. And when you can get a client who you've priced it well, you're not overcharging them, you charge them high and they're happy with it, and there's still a little bit of margin, and something goes wrong or they need a little bit extra work and you go, yeah, we can do this. That's the Goldilocks zone. So I guess that rambling answer is like, for me, I've built my business, try to avoid that type of scenario where you commit to a rate that you think is all right, and then you realise you're kind of stuffed and they got all the power and you don't want to lose them because it's a 6-figure contract, and then that's a stressful nightmare, you know? Does that help? Is it, yeah.
Glad that one wasn't for me.
I mean, we've been there.
It's going to be your life on handling, like.
Yeah. Exactly, and it's because there's some pen pusher somewhere who wants to tick a box. We did a tender many years ago. I'll talk about the details now because about 5 or 6 years ago. We used to do a Bethany site, the villages, right? And we did a really good job at this Bethany site. And one day the head office decided that they had 20 contractors doing 30-something sites and they wanted to simplify it, which makes so much sense for them. And then what they did is they basically aggregated the services. So like we would do a weekly mowing in the growing season of this park. Somebody else might have been doing monthly at that park because the facility manager did this. It was all a mess. So they wanted to simplify it. And they took everybody. That GoPro's doing something.
Can you come fix the GoPro or the GoPro?
Catch? Can you just press record on that if you know how to do it? This one's still going. We got one good GoPro. Please put out photos in it. I was going to say, is that my good GoPro doing? No. So we did this Bethany thing, and basically they aggregated all of it because some accountant somewhere was trying to. You can just put it on the Anthony from Momentum Mowing on Instagram. Can you? Just switch it. Petey.
I'm just zooming on his crutch.
So they aggregated it all together because they thought that was the smartest thing. Because they just wanted something even and this and that. And they wanted a square metre rate for everything. But you're like, a square metre rate, they wanted the same square metre rate for every single site. You'd have some sites with massive areas. And the point of the thing is that if you have a very big business that's really efficient and it's got its costs, you can have some margin in that. A small business, and you're really struggling, it's really hard to do that. And I actually think we did the right thing in that we actually said to them, we don't even really want to work in this way. We put a bid in, it didn't actually suit what they wanted, we didn't win it. So what I'm getting at is through a company like that aged care facility, they're actually doing the right thing by them. There's nothing wrong with that, but that suits a different style of business. It suits a bigger business that can have bigger margins, that has 2 other employees, and there's actually not a problem with the way they're doing it. It's a problem with us trying to fit into that system because we can't have those margins. I don't know, that's a rambling answer. Next questions?
I was just curious, on average, when you have a new job, how many sprinklers do you hit? If I've seen 3 words.
I had a guy who did a trial with me. He broke 27 sprinklers in 3 hours.
Well done.
Yeah, he was from Shore House. Oh, that was expensive. I would reckon it's, I haven't done proper work for a long time, but even when I was healthier, I would probably break 2 sprinklers a year or something like that. You know, I think what happens is a lot of the time with clients, they might have like a 50 millimeter sprinkler that it breaks, and they put a 70 in, and that's when you're at risk. And so when you notice that sort of stuff, we have spare sprinkler. I just change it because I know at some point, even though I know it's there, you might have somebody else install it the first time and they break it. How many sprinklers have you broken? Sal, is it a problem that you're facing right here?
You don't want to know.
We want to know. Come on, tell us how many. You can't be 27 in 3 days.
No, definitely not that.
Okay.
I can switch a sprinkler out in about 10 seconds. So.
I think that's a very acquired. There's an acquired skill, isn't it, from years of challenges.
Basically, I'm here.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think I remember as well. You know, with the nipple that breaks right deep in there. I had a guy who worked for me who was enthusiastic, really enthusiastic. And he was about 6'2", 6'3", and he used to open the side around with enthusiasm. Yeah, so there's a positive side of it. But I used to drop it for the last 20 centimetres. And I didn't tell him off because I was like, I'm trying to see the good in it, you know, but he kept dropping it in those driveways. It was just annoying. And then one day he dropped it spot on top of the sprinkler and broke the nipple right at the bottom. And it honestly took me longer to change the sprinkler out than it did to mow the entire lawn. And I was stupid at that. So bad memories. Haven't done that in a long time. What about you? Do you break the sprinkler for every 4 years?
The sorts of lawns I'm doing.
I'm hearing you talk about the irrigation thing again. That's another thing that blows my mind over years. For the area I'm in and the new estate that I'm in, it's a rarity that people are spending money on irrigation.
Yeah.
And if they do, it's been done really poorly, and I'll be sticking up and that sort of stuff. But I had very few clients that actually had irrigation.
Yeah.
Which probably blows your mind, but it's, yeah.
Well, you get the single rain.
Yeah, we tend to do.
Yeah, you don't. We got more questions? This is good. So, thank you for actually asking questions. One of the things about these events that you're really nervous about, you've got 80 people coming. We had 86 people apparently coming. You guys are the reals, all right? We're the loving guys. But we knew that there was a risk of that. And the second thing was, Tim was like, are people actually going to ask questions?
Someone's going to ask a question in a minute. When does this end?
I don't know. When? Next question.
I guess I'm pretty new in the business. I'm only 3 years running my own business, and I finally finished in September. I gone buy very big equipment through my cash flow. It's a decision I take. Yeah, I'm doing it all, so that's my reason. Just buy my house and everything like that. What's going to make me way more efficient on what I do, but I wonder how I can utilize that and try to get bigger from drugs. Right, because I do top drugs, was now it's organic, but it's more on a smaller scale. With bigger machines, going to be way more easy on my body and way faster. And I'm looking to get bigger on right.
So you're doing top dressing,
Yes.
with organics, you've got yourself a spreader or something like that, and makes it way more efficient. I think there's a really good choice here, right, as a service. Like, I think it's really smart because there's so much need for somebody to improve the sandy rubbish, and then when it grows on,
You have great results with the produce I use, and I go from the first year doing 15 dress to this year on 60.
Nice. Well, do you feel like that was because of marketing? So I would say this because people like you on podcasts. So you've gone from 15 to 60 top dressing jobs from last year to this year. Do you think that's because of reputation, or do you think that's through actual direct marketing where you've been putting ads there?
The marketing. Which my friends who I work with and who helped me out on my first year, we work very closely, so we kind of bounce jobs with each other.
Yeah.
And I guess, to create a little community of gardener, dancer, and procession, and we work with closely with our supplier. So it's kind of a bit of think of all that. But I'm looking with the bigger sprayer and other equipment I buy to get right bigger area like school. Things like that.
Right.
Are you looking to buy a bigger spreader, were you saying, or you've already bought it?
Okay. I'll repeat your question so people can hear it with the microphone. So basically, you've got the jobs from reputation, but you're wanting to get into bigger types of jobs. So it sounds like the jobs you're winning are smaller jobs that are nice, but not quite. Yeah, so this is the problem. So if there's a good side is that you're getting word of mouth, which means people like your service, right? And so next year, if you go from 50 to 60, you can't bank on word of mouth, unfortunately. But, you would be like, I maybe get 100. But it sounds like you're telling me that there's not where the profit is, so that's not really the job.
I mean, what profit is there? It's good. It's just as product I use really organic. And for example, my sense code, when I go over there, I see the road there. It's first good, don't get me wrong. But I can see how they could benefit of my product. Yeah, it's organic, so it's safe for kids. We just hit a bit away from a lot of good in it. And I really like the product and really like the result, and I really want the things. It's not just money, of course it is, because we all need to make a living, but it's also a good way to give back as well.
So you're wanting commercial jobs that are kind of medium or small-ish schools, like aged care facilities, things like that, right? We talk about this in the course a little bit, but I think LinkedIn is the most underrated social media platform to get work on. And the reason is that it still has organic reach. If you post on Facebook, right, Facebook kind of throttles you might have 500 friends, but only 50 of them are seeing it, right? LinkedIn's a little bit better. The difficult thing about LinkedIn is that the type of people who you want to connect with probably aren't going to connect with you very easily. So it's going to take a long time, right? But it's still a great strategy. And it's one of those things where you put yourself in front of people, you post regularly, it take a while, but you get it. And then you would have the direct marketing stuff. One thing you could do, it depends on how profitable you are already, how much risk you're willing to take on, right? But for a school, because schools have large and small sections, right? You could easily top dress a small 100 square meter internal lawn for free for a school, right? Say it costs you $500 or whatever, $200. Let's say you had the free time anyway, right?
Film it.
Well, that's a great idea. Right, yeah, free top dressing Fridays. But you could go to a school and say, hey, I do this. You've got to find the right schools. So public schools you will not be able to get in because they already have contracts. And that's where I started my career, right? Big private schools, you won't be able to get in because they already have full-time employees. You need to find a school that has 30, literally some schools that only have 30 is due starting out, to 300 kids, right? The school we're at has about 350, 400 kids, right? The bigger they get, they have enough budget to hire full-time staff. The smaller ones actually are interested in this kind of stuff. And what you're saying is true. I would go to some of these schools. I'd be active on LinkedIn as a long-term strategy. I'd be trying to do SEO as a long-term strategy. But this spring, or even this winter, I'd be hooking up with all these. I'd be finding every single school in Perth that is private school, like I said, 30 to 300 kids. And literally going to the school with nice marketing stuff and saying, I will do this section of your lawn for free, like maybe you've already looked on the Google Maps, do it for free, and I think it'll be an expensive thing, but it'll get your foot in the door. And with this private school that we do, right, it is so, what we do, like we're charging tens of thousands of dollars a year, but one kid there is, I don't know the exact price, but say on average $4,000 or $5,000, right? They get 20 new kids over the course of a year because the laws are nice, right? There's a public school across the road from our private school, we kick their butt, right? You convert 20 people once, they've got 5 years of lawn mowing for free, if you get what I mean, because those kids are going to be there. So that's the way to think about it, that you go to them and you go, this will be a $5,000 job, right? One kid done it. So hopefully that's helpful. Any more questions that we've got? Please do. We've cracked the hour mark as well. That's impressive.
Is it?
Yeah.
I think it's impressive that you have only brought to that one.
I've only answered 2 questions. Yeah.
Tim said you made revenue from your videos and you've made a lot. But how long did it take to actually get a revenue from those leads?
Well, I was on YouTube for quite a while before any of the other platforms. I didn't have a Facebook for quite a while. So I can't actually remember how long it took me to get. I think you needed 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours. So 4,000 hours of people watching your videos, which is the harder thing to get. A bit easier when you have longer form videos. But it might have taken maybe 3-4 months, maybe. All it sort of took was one longer video to get those hours up. And that's why I've always watched a lot of YouTube. I never thought I'd have anything to film for YouTube. So then when I started doing this, I'd always been curious about the back end of YouTube, which I think a lot of people are, because a lot of people ask, how does it work for you? But so it was my initial goal when I started getting views. It wasn't like, I want to make a career out of this, or it was literally just, I want to see if I can get to the monetization stage and just see how it works and how you get paid and what you get paid. So yeah, that was my first target, to try and get monetized there. But that was all sort of before Free Mode Fridays. That didn't start until later, because I ended up I was always looking for these lawns, so you naturally... I didn't go in on a trend. Sean from Blade Mate had done a couple of free ones. I thought that was cool, and then I just did one because I was looking for one, and but I didn't sell it as like I'm a community warrior or whatever. And then I gave him credit in the video, and I said, this was inspired by Sean from Blade Mate. But yeah, you kind of start out looking for your paid jobs, because if you're going to spend a day somewhere and it's your income and you're not getting income anywhere else, it's very hard to do that for free. So I was doing my paid ones initially, and then because I was looking for them all the time, and I was spending time looking for them, and I wanted to find the right ones, I started doing the free ones. But yeah, to answer your question, I think it took maybe 3 or 4 months. Yeah, which it can be very different. There's a lot of people doing it, so I think it could take longer, just because there's so much, there's a world of videos out there of people lawn mowing now, so it's very hard to stick out. I don't know if I started now, if I have the traction that I currently have. I think it was just a right time, right place. Yeah.
All right, well, how about we take one more question? Is there somebody with one more question? We do.
Yeah. Just wondering, what
I can be so viral versus the type there's the comment section.
I think any video that you have that you look at this, like people look at likes and all that sort of stuff. I'm like, I have never looked at likes. I'm like, I don't get the metric for me is shares. If you make something that people want to share, and I'll say that sometimes on my videos, it's like, what do you look at?
Look at the video. You keep talking up.
Yeah, that's the metric for me. If you can get something that people want to share because it's stupid or whatever, which I'm more than happy to take the piss out of myself or make myself look like an idiot, so someone else could send this to someone and go, look at this idiot. And it's like, I don't, and my regular viewers are kind of in on the joke because the other people don't get it. But yeah, for me, it's shares. If you make something that people want to share, and that changes over time. Like what used to guarantee to do well, now it doesn't do as well, as I said, because there's so many more people doing it. It's like seeing it. So yeah, we kind of got to try and reinvent the wheel, and I don't know, sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. Most of the time I don't, but yeah.
I just want to add one thing, is that yesterday you posted this video that got, I just checked it, 1.9 million views as a reel. There's a weed, pulling out the weed, I don't know if you guys saw this. He blows it with a blower, rubs it with his hands.
I think fondling was the correct.
Then he pulls it out very poorly and then just whippersits it anyway, right?
I was going for a satisfying pull initially.
Now, Ellie and I don't have the weed.
I was trying to pull the weed out in a satisfying fashion.
Okay, it didn't work. But
You need OnlyFans for that.
you better, buddy. I reckon. With the Ellie and I are there, right? And I actually wanted to blow off or something. And so I wasn't really paying attention to what you're doing. We were just pulling out weeds in the blank in the gunner bins. And so I was looking across, I was like, what is he doing? Because I couldn't grab the blower, it was in shot. So I just kind of waved around and I was like, that's so weird. Right. Like, but I was not in a judgmental way, but I was like, I never would have thought of doing that. But I'm like, I can kind of see, yeah, maybe the blowing. Or just like, just
Like to get over get some dirty bucks here.
just thinking about, like, I can see, like, when we were at Kings Park, there was some retic covers that are overgrown. And you're like, oh, yeah, I've seen people do that. I understand what that satisfies. Yeah. And I see you doing what you're doing. And I'm like, I never was deep to do that. And I kind of was like, well, maybe it'll be popular, but I don't know, I just trust him. And then it's like 2 million views.
Yeah, they don't always pop them. It's, yeah.
But I think you have an eye for it. I don't have that at all.
Well,
I wouldn't have seen it.
That's why most people, I would say, I wouldn't recommend what I do to most people because it's just all consuming. Your brain's kind of thinking about this crap all the time, and it's probably not healthy, really. Like, but I think if you are going to be successful at it to the point where it's a business, I think that's kind of the only way to be successful at it, to have like an unhealthy obsession with it. And I've got a bit of a obsessive personality in that regard. Like, if I'm doing something, I'll be like blinkers on and this is. I think when I joined the Fire Brigade in 2016, and I came from I used to work at a motor auction buying and selling cars, so people call me a used car salesman, but doing that, it was all about every month. It was like I was trying to get commission, so I was trying to get a target or whatever. And then I joined the Fire Brigade, and I went from a job where it was, I was very self-motivated and had those goals every month, and it was, you're kind of stressed trying to get there. But then you join the Fire Brigade, and it's, I do the best job I can, but it's whether you're the world's worst fire or the world's best fire, you're being remunerated the same.
Yeah, right.
So I think I lost. Well, I'm not saying that fire.
So you're motivated to be the worst fire out there, right? Okay, that's what you're saying.
No, I'm just saying I lost a bit of. I feel I need mowing sort of saved me in that regard. So initially with my mowing business, I was like, okay, I've got something I can build here and try and sort of obsess over and focus on and having that goal outside of the Fire Brigade. So that helped me, and then actually expanding into the social media stuff. But yeah.
And on that note, lawn mowing saved timber lawnmower in.
It's somewhat. I mean, I say it sounds corny or whatever, but in some ways it did.
Gave you a drive, something to push for that wasn't just complacent. I will get the same wage no matter what.
Yeah, and it was just in a tough point in life at that time. Yeah, so
You are.
Yeah.
Really made it on both of our followers who came and were tonight. But let's put our hands together. Thank you so much.